Hey everybody. So we are going to get into our subject of player point of view. I'm going to say a couple of things that a DM does, and our resident player here will just tell me exactly what he thinks. He doesn't know what any of these things that I've written down here, and we'll just see what pops into his head.
I actually don't know anything about anything, so this is going to be fun for everybody.
All right. On that note, jump into the first one.
Okay.
A character gets killed. DM kills him.
What level are we? We're doing everything we can on the resurrection side of things immediately with that, if that's a character they want to continue playing, depending on what the coming back to life could be, whether it could be a level, something, it could be we can't get to a temple.
Okay.
I've also seen people just create. Well, their twin brother now is here, and it's just this. They enjoyed that character so much.
Well,
better them than me? Question mark.
What does the level matter?
On the accessibility to spells that you can cast for yourself to bring them back from the dead, whether they're officially alive or undead, would be kind of my way. But I found a lot of people like fall in love with their characters, and they see that character progressing. So whatever I can do to get them back on the tabletop with that character, if they enjoy it, and that's a little bit of out of game to end of game stuff. Also, did they deserve it? Did they just venture off?
But how's that react for the DM? The DM is the one who did it. The DM just killed them. You mean they may have caused the things, but the DM is the one who did it. How do you feel about that towards the DM?
So this is where it goes down to was it malicious, or was it earned? Because nothing is, there's always action and reaction, and reaction is slower than action. So for me, that's a YP, not an MP. That's a you problem, not a me problem. Gotcha. Because the people that I've played with, they scale stuff to progress them through the story, not to just all out team party kill every single week. Because I haven't really found people that have enjoyed that either. And maybe I've just been really lucky to not be in groups where it's just every week you're just rolling up a new character. Because for me, you kind of that glue that, you're glued to your character and love that character. Every time that character dies and you have to throw that away and do a new one, that glue gets a little less sticky, and then eventually you care less about it.
All right. Next one.
Okay.
DM gives a single player a powerful item.
He earned it.
Flat out, he earned it.
Yeah, lots of times, because they're trying to progress the storyline as well, and maybe that magical item pushes that storyline forward, and that person just all out earned it. I've given items to people that play their characters more, and it makes it more enjoyable for me because they're able to do their stuff better. So that's kind of where my thought process on it.
What if you know that item is not something that's necessary to the story? It's only because said player really wanted it.
First, is it me? Because if it's me, I'm great with it. If it's someone else, now that's when the backstabbing, conniving, can I use this as well? What trouble can I get this person into so they have to fight their way out of it and may lose that item, to which then so that's kind of my thought process on it. If it's moving things forward on the storyline, great. If it's more on like this person just whined about it, so then they got it, then I kind of have a little bit of a chip on my shoulder on that one.
Okay. A DM gets a rule wrong.
They
don't really know that they did it.
Yeah.
They just got it wrong.
Is it in favor of us or in favor for them?
Both. First, in favor. What does it feel like if it's in favor?
If it's in favor, I'm great with it, because he or she has created a world that we can all live in, and operate in. And if it's for us, let's rock and roll and push on through it.
Now it's against you.
All right.
The rule they got wrong is just totally against you.
Two-sided sword, or dual edged there, and you gotta bite the bullet, because not everything in life goes your way, and sometimes people in power are able to make rules that you don't agree with, and at the end of the day, it just is what it is. Now it could be something that for the remainder of that session we play out like this, and then we have a dialogue and a talk.
So there won't be a
and forth.
discussion at the end.
At-
Hey, I
at
feel
the
like
end-
you got that
At
wrong.
the end, on the pros or cons thing, and then if they want to make it a house rule from there, cool. If not, then we go, all right, well, that worked for you and against you. Going forward, this is how we're going to do that. Or that worked for you and against you. Going forward, it's never going to be like that ever again, and let's define that. But it's all ultimately up to that DM or GM because they're creating that experience.
Okay.
Consistency could be key.
Yeah.
The DM adds rules
Mm-hmm.
that make the game harder / easier to play. These rules are not a part of the game; they're variant rules.
Sure.
So, how do you, as a player, what's the thought on that?
It's one of those you got to kind of be in the moment, and just deal with it as it comes. Like Bruce Lee, you just gotta be water, my friend.
Well, this is at the beginning of the campaign.
Uh-huh.
Say the DM is gracious enough to say,
Sure.
I want to add these rules.
Yeah.
We're going to play a hardcore campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Maiming can happen. I mean, are you, as long as is it spoken out early in the game,
Oh, yeah.
you're fine with it? Or vice versa. Hey, I can always take a potion with a bonus action instead of an action.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
either way, you're good.
For me, I'm great. I'm great with it, and I think that adds some different variables to it that can make it more enjoyable and just a little bit different. So I love it. I'm here for it. Let's get weird.
All right. Talking about a little weird.
Okay.
The big bad evil guy dodges death. You know you had him. You know he's dead. You
Yeah.
100% know this guy was supposed to be dead by
Yep.
all expectations, but he's not. Or she. Or
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. For me, I'm great with it. I now have a permanent spot in that bad guy's mind where I know and that bad guy knows. I had you. I had your number. I had you all the way. You just got out of there in the last minute. No. You're mine. I got a little bit of your soul, and now I keep it with me. I'm great. I'm great with it because maybe that character and big bad guy has it where he's going to come back with something different later on. Maybe it's a green Power Ranger situation where now he becomes a white Power Ranger at the end, and he's your buddy. So you got options all over the place, and I like it.
All right. Next one is a DM forces a plot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that you guys were actually going towards. It's something that he or she has now decided to turn towards and force the party into.
I'm overall good with it because I think the end goal to that DM at that point sounds like it's more important for the growth of that party and the growth of that story. So for me personally, I'm great with it and try to be flexible.
Okay, so allowing the DM to make that choice for the party is not a bad thing. It's something that as a player you respect. Because if he or she is doing that, it's warranted.
For me, absolutely, because I've been in the other side of the shoes where go and do this. It's what you need. It's what's gonna. I'm great with that, and that helps my brain out.
Okay. A session the DM forces on you that is mostly role play. That's it.
Love it. Let's get it. I'm here for it all the way. I want to be able to expand my character's role playing as well as my role playing. I'm great with it.
So on the opposite side of that, a session that is mostly combat, where there's not really any talking, is mostly swinging. Same difference?
Same for me. I try to make sure that my character is proficient at both of those things whenever it comes down to it. So for me personally, I'm great with that. I think you can get a lot out of both of those sessions and very enjoyable for me.
The DM allows PvP, player versus player.
PvP gets really scary for me because people are attached to those characters. If it's a mutual combat, great. If it's non-mutual, I think having an NPC step in to quietus that, I think for me is very, very necessary, can lead to some toxic outside gaming.
Well, I personally believe PvP should stay out of all campaigns unless it's specifically said at the beginning of the campaign, hey, this is possible. So a good old Thieves Guild campaign or backstabbing politics, warranted. Normal hero group, I dislike player versus player, and that should not happen because most people don't like their stuff being taken by force. It usually makes them angry.
There's way too many things that can go wrong, in my opinion, on a PvP side of things. Whenever that happens, if it isn't established at the beginning of that, personal opinion.
A DM plays creatures very tactically, where they seem to be working as more of a cohesive unit, or maybe even feeling as if they are using their metagaming to a point.
This is where a personal opinion for me, and everyone doesn't have to agree with it. I'm going to try to do that on my side of things as a player. So having a DM do that, I am great with. I think it's easier if the DM can articulate it through having more intelligent creatures, meaning that if their intelligence is higher and they would actually have the ability to do that, and it feels like it fits in the storyline rather than just being altogether forced. Like if oozes are making tactical maneuvers with a negative intelligence, that's when you
go, okay, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
But yet, if it's a group of mercenaries,
absolutely,
you expect that amount of tactics.
Yep.
But in playing with that, do you feel as if creatures all inherently have their own style of tactics that a DM does not need to explain to you because you as a character shouldn't understand that most of the time?
Yeah, absolutely. We make jokes about it, like whenever an orc is born in the wild, they basically get a little reel of, this is what an adventurer looks like. We will do this, you have an axe. And, our joke to that, but I think 100% do it. Let's get weird because I'm going to try to do that to you. So absolutely.
Okay. Same vein.
Okay.
What if the DM is using creatures to tactically target a specific player? Not just the fact that they're using tactics. It's know that they're actively hunting one player in the combat.
Yeah. Again, for me, whatever availability that you have inside of the game or outside of the game, as long as you can articulate that as a game master, as a dungeon master, use that to your full ability. I green like that 100%, because that one person that's in the background doing their stuff continuously and has made a fight not fun or not fair, you can articulate that other people have been watching that. Whispers have happened throughout the forest that wizard in the back is just going to stand back there and demolish everybody with magic missile. And now you have, a front combat and now a rear attack. I absolutely think that, because word travels, and as adventurers grow, their renown grows.
Yep.
That's something
totally agree with you. A DM gives you lore you didn't ask for.
Hate it.
Please elaborate.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the character. Sometimes I feel like a lot of times DMs and GMs have thought about it so much that they're giving information that the party doesn't need, and that's probably one of the biggest things that grinds my gears as a player. Of like, not a forced plot, but just forced information that the party isn't needing or requiring, and whether. I think if it's in a group style, if there's one particular person in that party that needs that group or that needs the information, for sure, that's great. That's great. But if you look around the table and everybody is just on their phones or looking off in the world, you got to kind of wrangle yourself back in.
Would you trust the DM when he's dropping that lore, because maybe they have been known for using that as a driving force for plots later?
And that may also be maybe a personal opinion from me based off of just my ADHD happening as well.
I totally get it. Because I'm on the opposite side of you.
Yeah.
Lore. Give it.
Now,
I want to eat it.
for
Give
sure.
me every bit of any information. I don't care how relevant it is to the situation. I want
Now, that being said, if you are that DM that's giving that information, I say put important parts into that, not just filler, and then later on have callbacks to that. And then I think at that point is when I can start saying, okay, now that information, I need it. I need to pay attention to that. You know, give me the meat and potatoes. I may not want all the vegetables, but I still have to eat that information. So,
okay. A DM bans
mm-hmm.
specific feats or specific rules in
Mm-hmm.
the game. That they just say, nope, you cannot have sharpshooter. You can. I am not allowing you to go.
No Bloomstar or Ranger.
You know, just a straight up no. I refuse to have that in my game.
Yep, it's their game that you're being a part of. I think that is well within their rights as long as it's pre-established, and you're not spending time and energy and money on resources to gain access to that, to then show up session one and then they go, no dice.
So as long as it's spoken
no dice.
Yeah, I got it. As long as it's spoken of beforehand and everybody's on the same page,
for sure.
A ban is fine. Well, what if later on down the line, you have realized, hey, this is just becoming an issue. You guys, this one, we'll take the lucky feat, for example.
Yep.
A lot of people have a contentious relationship with the lucky feat.
Okay, and explain the lucky feat.
The lucky feat is at any time you can take a roll and you basically add a d20 to it and you take the highest roll.
Okay.
So like for instance, the biggest problem with that is somebody has a disadvantage on a roll. They roll their 2 dice and then they say, oh, I'm going to use my lucky feat. They roll a 3rd dice and take the highest of the 3.
I'm thinking of the magic item that lets you do that. No, it's the diviner. The
Gotcha.
diviner gives you the 3 dice.
Okay.
You just say, I'm going to take this dice and use it.
Once again, pre-established, great. If it's something that you just find broken at the end of it, finding a way around that, I think is the adult answer to that. And forcing more things to burn through those, I think that's where the player pushes the DM to be a better version of themselves, just like the DM pushes the players to be better versions of themselves and their characters. So I think the same way that you level up as characters, the DM levels up too.
The last one, DM runs a homebrew campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Their own world, their own thing. They may pull from other places, but this is their world.
I'm great with it. That's also where you kind of have to know your DM as well, and play into them as well to get the most out of it for them and for you. You know, if you find that they enjoy a certain style of gaming, understand that one of the aspects of the power gaming is understand what setting you're in, and who
your limitations are.
Yeah.
You know where we're able to go.
Absolutely.
Can my person fit inside this world without becoming a burden to it, but allowing me to do the best I can be?
But also for me personally, that's something that I enjoy, and that's why I make my character after I know a lot of people that are in the campaign and the campaign setting that we're in all together that can make that the best.
Do you feel more comfortable when it's like a pre-made campaign that the structure is pretty much set? It's kind of like we already know the direction we're supposed to go in for the most part, and the settings are somewhat established. Does that make you feel better as a player?
For me personally, I'm great with either. I've had the time of my life on campaigns that were already predetermined. Turn the page. These are the possible things that you can do. I've also had the time of my life with people who are in a homebrew world. It's like it's just the table. It's just the table, and it's the people at the table that makes it even more fun. So,
okay. But no, like one or the other.
No, I just enjoy playing, and I just enjoy being with the people. So that's the fun part for me. Everything else is just the sprinkles on top, and sprinkles are for winners.
Well, speaking of winners, everybody who's watched this video has definitely a winner.
Yeah.
And hopefully these little bit of insights will also help you guys, because these questions that I was asking was really trying to prompt him to pull out just a pure viewpoint, not what is already rehearsed or believed in, but a snap decision. What in the moment would make you make a decision? What I see, what I feel. Because a lot of times these things are not necessarily talked about between the player and the DM. They kind of happen in the moment, or as a player you go, I'm sorry, I don't want to really jump on your parade. It's your thing. Or the DM might also just let players run away with because they don't want to confront them. And some of these questions are good things to ask and have brought up because it makes the games better.
For sure.
So, hey, if there's anything else, other points that maybe I missed or something that you think of that would be great to discuss, maybe get some more feedback on, put that down in the comments.
Yeah. Like, subscribe, hit that noti bell so every time an awesome video drops, it's right there in front of your face. You can be a part of it too.
Yeah. And next time a DM rolls the 20 behind the screen here, you say, I don't believe it.
It works every time. 60% of the time, it works every time.
Yeah.